Good evening, everybody. So welcome to our return of the community weeklies. And so I know it's been a bit of a break, but we've got, as usual, an action-packed agenda here. And so we're going to start off with Jordan, who's got some interesting proof of concept work on CMS. Jimothy is going to show us some work and some upcoming work on tutorials. Scott's been doing some work on account creation from a UX standpoint, so you'll start seeing a little bit more UX moving forward. And then bonus content today. Dev is going to share with us some work on Cypress from a testing perspective. So the team's been busy with that, and we've got some initial work we wanted to share and get some feedback. As usual, I'll have a couple of minutes at the end for questions. I know there's one or two that popped up in chat, but yeah, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jordan, who's going to kick us off.
Cool. Let me share. All right, you should be able to see my screen. Let me quit Slack. All right, so basically me and Lewis had a day of just playing around with PWA, and we wanted to find a way for the actual customer to, to make it easier for them to edit CMS pages and just what you see is what you get, editors basically. And we wanted to do that from the front end, like you would do in a WordPress installation, where you have like these page builders, like these visual things on the front end. So basically, we made a proof of concept, and that's what I'm going to show you guys. So on this, I'm running on my local dev connected to the live environment. You can see it's exactly the same. But the thing is that we are checking if the current IP address of my user is in the database under the isDevAllowed array, just like you would have that in default Magento. So what this allows me to do is to, as a customer or a marketing manager, whatever, just add text in here. So I can just add hello, a little save button pops up, click save, go to my front end. And this is also the front end, but this is like the live side. So normally, because I'm on the correct IP address, this would actually also show the editor for me because I'm on the same IP address, but this PR isn't deployed on live, so that's why there's no editing option here. So this is what a user would see. So you would refresh the page and would say hello. And you can do a lot more stuff with it, like we can, for example, move this heading down, click save, and instead of refreshing, like let's say you're an actual customer, without like refreshing the page, you would go to the category page, back to the home page, and you're seeing like it's updated. So that's like pretty much the gist of it. You can do like make it bold. You can also say, you know what, we're gonna edit the link. If we copy the Magento URL, paste it in there, enter, hit save, go to the front end, reload it, and you can see right now the link is added. It's gonna open in a target blank. But you could also, of course, like let's say we want to go to a internal page. I think we can just like paste this in. Right, like say this would be an internal URL. So it's saved, go to another page, get back here, and you're going to the product page. And so this is basically just a concept, proof of concept, but you could do the same for images, for like ordering these blocks all on the front end. So that's pretty cool. You could, of course, like add something totally new. So let's say you want to add either a heading or text for now. So you could just say blah, blah, blah. And obviously it's going to reflect on the actual front end. So yeah, that's basically the gist of what we've been working on. That's basically it, what I wanted to show.
That's awesome.
It's very slick.
And we're like, just if you think you need this for your customer, you want to play around with it, we can probably like build this into like a separate package that you can use for reference. So just hit me up if somebody finds this interesting, and I'll make sure to forward the code.
Awesome. Good stuff as always, Jordan. Any questions from the team here before we move on? All right. Hey, thanks again for sharing that, Jordan. And again, yeah, if anybody's interested, please feel free to reach out. I'm sure we'll get some questions with the recorded version of this for sure. So good stuff. All right, so let's switch gears then. Mr. Kalkabin, I know you've been working on some tutorials here. You want to give us a
Yep.
sneak peek?
Yes, I do. Let me share my screen. There we go. So, sneak peek at PR number 3044, which is a tutorial to create a tag list extension. If the tag list feature sounds familiar to you, it's because there's already a tutorial to make a tag list component. However, this tutorial that's published right now is out of date and uses some older methods that we don't really want to do anymore. So this PR actually replaces that with another one to create an extension. You can take a look at the preview for that file. Hold on. The file's changed. Yeah, you can take a look at the preview for that here. You can see I go into detail about what exactly you need to set up your extension project, which is just a standalone package. And then I go into detail about what files you need to actually render the tag list component itself. And then we end up creating a data fetch hook. And it seems like a long tutorial, but it's only because I put all the code you need to run the actual extension and I explain what each of them does. And so if you want to take a look at that live, there's a link at the bottom here for code sandbox instance, and it'll pop up a live instance of this code running. You can see the main directories for this project are extensions and storefront. Storefront is just a basic scaffolded project that you use after use the scaffolding API. It's mostly unmodified. You'll see there's source that is just pretty much empty. Most of the stuff you'll find interesting is in the tag list extension directory. It's where all these files that define the tag list feature are found. The only thing you'll want to look at is the local intercept for the storefront. It's where most of these changes are being done. And you can actually take a look at the tag list extension in this browser. You just click into a product and you'll see a list of tags here. That's not a good example. A good example is this belt, which has a lot of tags associated with it. And each of these are clickable. And it actually just takes you to a group. What else? So yeah, this code sandbox is actually running from this repository, Magento DevDocs, PWA Studio Code Sandbox, on this specific branch. Right now, there's only one tutorial on this, but in the future, I want to create additional branch tutorials for different things that we use in the docs. So you can actually clone this and run it just like you would locally in a sandbox. Any questions for that?
So the tag list extension is creating the components, and then the scaffolded app is doing the work to sort of inject those components, right?
Correct. You can actually see where you import the tag list component here, and then you insert it into the actual product details page. here.
Right. So that's the scaffolded project that are using Targetable's API to
Right.
do the injection. Cool.
So that's the only thing that's been modified from a scaffolded project is just this local intercept. And that's what adds the import into the product full details. If you've read this old tutorial, it actually has you copy the render chain into your project, which we don't really encourage anymore. That's why we
Right.
we
That's
do
much better.
targetables. So yeah, give that PR a look, and if you have any feedback, feel free to add comments before we go ahead and publish this. There's no more questions. Stop sharing.
The code sandbox. I think the more we use that to help people understand how things work without necessarily having to set things up themselves. So I'm excited about this, but also some of the future tutorials that are coming out as well. So thank you for putting that together. And I know it's in progress, but really kind of sharing it, get some feedback, and looking forward to seeing that one out there.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some good feedback on that approach. Just mixing both the docs and then a live example and seeing how people use that to learn.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, thank you, sir. All right. So next on the agenda, we've got a couple, a little bit of UX work here from Mr. Hensley. So Scott, you want to share kind of what's coming up soon, possibly for account creation?
Thanks everybody for letting me crash your party today with some UXy stuff. What I wanted to show really is it's kind of a bug we've been working on, something that was discovered, kind of a paradox really, and I'll show you kind of in the live environment what happens. So here we have an unauthenticated user that's checking out. This has to do with kind of the promise or the ability to create an account after guest checkout, because we've collected information about somebody. So the way it works is, they place their order and of course they get the confirmation screen. And there's this kind of module over here is like, hey, how about you add a password and create that account. So which is all well and good. However, no thanks. So it says here, the account was successfully created. We can see I'm signed in and I have this order. This kind of gives the impression that this order is now linked to that account, but because you sort of completed the order, it's kind of not connected to the account. So from a UX point of view, this is kind of confusing for the user. So I just wanted to share kind of our suggestion on how to go about doing this. So I'll share this. So same kind of thing. Here they are, unauthenticated. They place their order. They get the confirmation. And again, here's this thing, right? So they add their password and they create the account. But now the original order goes away, that guest order, and there's an email that will be sent to the email address they use to give them access and details for that account, or for that order rather. But really, we're letting them know a little better that now they've sort of left the order, and now we're just talking to them about their account. So it just helps, rather than just show a blank page after they sign in, or leave that kind of weird state where like, hey, you signed up and here's that order that you can't find in your account when you go to your orders. And it offers some opportunities for additional marketing if, say, the sign up, you wanted to promote that with something like with reward points or whatever. This also would give you the ability to kind of message that confirmation that, hey, thanks, here are your reward points that you earned by signing up. But it also gives an opportunity for some content to kind of explain what's going on about the original order potentially. I'm no writer, but in here, if you could gently sort of let them know the difference between, or the advantage of having an account sort of going forward. And of course, I've got this kind of super extra little coach mark, if you will, where it's like, oh, and by the way, here's how you get to your account. So anyway, that's the suggestion there. And so I just wanted to kind of share that. Again, thanks for this. What I like about this is that it kind of addresses needs of the user kind of post-purchase, which sometimes those get forgotten. So anyway, that's what I had to share. Thanks. If you have any questions, let me know.
Awesome. Good stuff, Scott.
Yeah, got a quick question. This wouldn't, like this fix wouldn't resolve the initial issue, right?
No, but right, yeah. So those order the guest order isn't connected with the account, and if anybody has some ideas on how to do that, that would be even better. So that would of course be ideal, and kind of a great way of doing it. But for now, this is kind of just to resolve that initial sort of issue. It's not uncommon really out in the wild for you to sign out or check out anonymously as a guest, then create an account and those two not be linked. But some sites are able to do it, some sites don't. So again, just trying to communicate that in this instance, that's not the case.
Right.
Yeah, I'm seeing some feedback from Chris on this one. There may be a gap in GraphQL. So, Scott, let's take a look at this. I know, again, full disclosure, this is fairly early as a concept, but there may be some dependencies, some things we can take a look at that would help enable that for sure on our side. So it's a good question. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
Thanks.
Any more questions for Scott before we move on to Dev? All right. So let's switch gears here. So Dev's going to share with us some of the work we've been doing on Cypress. So,
Hey everyone. So I would be going through some of the Cypress POC which we recently did. Let me share my screen. Okay, so most of you already know what is Cypress. It's like a JavaScript web automation tool. So our current solution, we are currently going with like MFTF, which we wanna like just compare like what currently we are using, and why we wanna go with Cypress. Like Cypress has like advantages, like it allows us to mock data very easily, which and also like there are some inbuilt things like we don't need to explicitly mention like a wait time, or we don't need to score for element, which currently in our Selenium we need to do it. And also one more thing is like the capturing of the snapshots, that is also done inbuilt. I will be also showing some of it discussion which I automated for POC. So if you see like in my PW Studio, we have added this Venia end-to-end test. So we just want the test to be decoupled and not to like tightly coupled with the actual code or like Venia UI. For running Cypress, we just run this command which will open up the Cypress UI. Currently it's POC, so just like checking the examples too, but we will take that out in our real work. So we did automate like just two examples, one with the real data and one with the mock data. So first I'll just run the real data one, which basically goes to like home page and like check some like banner exists, clicks on some buttons, and checks the images load. Yep, so basically this test, what it did is like on home page, it checks like this banner part exists. It did click on this slider button. it checked like this image exists, all the content is there, and then it clicks on like shop now button and checks like we are on right page. And one more test we automated was like of account access. So basically it's like creates an account, signs out, logs in with a new account, and then again sign out and hits a forward password. And that's like pretty fast. And one more we did was with the mock data. So this part is very interesting, like the most I like this part. It's very easy. It basically replaces the network call. Is it working? No. Come
I think
on.
it got stuck.
Yeah, something happened.
The beauty of a POC.
It is. It's very early.
That was interesting. Try one more time.
I think the original image is maybe not being requested or something.
Maybe.
Just explain what it is.
Yeah, so basically the same test case I automated whatever like this homepage one does, but what it does, like it gets the mock data. So we have stored the mock data here, mock data JSON. So basically it loads the mock data from here, and also we have like the two images. It also loads these two images and runs the same test, and rest all like is same. And with our current like MFTF approach, the one major part which would block us or like might we end up in like some trouble is like the data we create is part of like REST APIs, or also you might migrate to GraphQL APIs, like, but given the decoupled nature, it would be tough to like create a data and again clean it from the backends. So with this mock data approach, it would be very easy to manage the test. So our end plan is to like run most of our UI tests on like mock data and have a limited set of UI test cases which will run on like real sample data. Yep, and one major disadvantage currently I see with Cypress is like currently it doesn't support multi-tabs or like running two browsers in one task case, and also it doesn't have like more support on iframe. But currently we don't have any like such scenarios where we are doing multi-tab or multi-browser test cases. Yep, that's it I had on this POC. Any questions?
I have a question. I understand this uses the browser to and the DOM to do this testing, but is there a way to include this testing from the CLI like GitHub Actions?
Yeah, there are ways. Either like you run using a CLI, or even we can like configure different things as part of our CI. But just for POC purpose, I am running it via UI, this
Okay,
Cypress UI.
thank you.
Yep. Also, like currently, if you see, like I haven't done any changes, like what the folder structure and nothing. So we might like rename it like yes source, and we also take out the examples. When we also come up with a like new folder directory structure where we can maintain all the element, alias them, and then call them in like for clicking or like entering data. So that would be like our actual work once we start on it.
Quick question. What are you like? How are you deciding to click a button? Are you checking it via the class, or are you setting like custom data IDs? You select a button and then click on it.
So currently, I'm just calling the CSS elements to click on it, but the plan is to like for a button, you define it in one place and then you call it and click.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I've also talked about adding those data elements, like you're saying, to it, make that part of it a little bit easier. Maybe strip them out in production builds or something like that. But
Yeah, that's what we're
Okay.
doing. But like I found that selecting like elements by style or like even parts of the DOM is pretty tedious. If that like changes, you need to fix up those tests again. So might want to look into making it the standard to add like data IDs and just strip them for the final build, something like that. But this is great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great stuff, Dev. And I think this is one of those areas too. I think as we start to kind of wrap our mind around the proof of concept, we would love to hear about the scenarios here, internally, but also the community as well, right? I think thinking through these, whether it's again some of the comments that Carlos had made around CLI and GitHub Actions, some of the kind of how it works. We know there's a lot of usage of Cypress amongst the community and PWC, and so this kind of gives us some options to work together on that and to really see how we can push this to the limit. But yeah, super excited about this. One key takeaway, at least from a product standpoint, is that this is going to allow us to release more frequently, which is super exciting. So more to come on that at some point, as well as the Venia bananas as well. But looking forward to really releasing this, and internally, this is really going to help us move even faster, right? And that was really the origin of this one. So more to come, but just wanted to share this. Dev, thank you so much for kind of sharing the proof of concept there.
Yep.
Cool. We're almost at time, so thank you so much to everybody for presenting. I just want to leave here a minute or two for any questions. I know there's a few in the Slack channel before we wrap it up. Everybody's so shy on these calls, so not a problem. We'll follow up on mine. Quick administrative update. So also on the team, there's been a couple updates. For those who don't know, Andrew Wilcox is last week at Adobe was last week, and so he's taking on a new opportunity outside of Adobe to work with a startup. So we're really excited about him, about him and kind of his work there. But you'll start to see a very familiar face with PWA. And it's not me. It's going to be Elena. So Elena Tekcheva, who you may know from Page Builder, is going to be taking the reins of PWA, and so she's already been helping over the past couple months on some of the key integration points. But expect to see more of her from this one. So we couldn't be more thrilled to have her as part of the team. Again, I know a lot of you already know her in bits and pieces, whether it's this Page Builder or really just Magento for quite some time. So can't be more excited about that, but expect to see more from her on that one, just again as a quick team update. So
thanks, Eric. I'm really excited to own PWA. It's a great opportunity for me. Hopefully we'll make a great team.
For sure, we could not be more excited than thrilled for sure. So cool. With that, anything else before we wrap it up? Leave it on a high note. So. All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, afternoon, and evening, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye.